Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today. This is your prime time destination. News, newsmakers, talking points. The big talking point is coming tonight from Karnataka, where the Siddaramaiah government has stirred a controversy by seeking reservations in private sector. But there could well be now a rethink. Can a global city like Bangalore really afford quota wars? Also, the rumblings have begun in the UP BJP after the 2024 setback. Is Yogi Adityanath under notice? That's the question we'll also raise. The story that's breaking this evening, the Karnataka government of Siddaramaiah has put the jobs quota in private sector on hold. The Siddaramaiah government has put the quota for Kannadigas in private sector jobs on hold. The CMO, Karnataka government, says we will relook at the jobs quota bill. Remember, this is a bill that provides for reservations for Kannadigas both in the C and D category up to 75% and in certain other employment up to 50% for local Kannadigas. And that has provoked considerable controversy. Joining us now are Bureau Chief there in Bangalore, Nagarjun Dwarkanath joins me. Nagarjun, it appears that the backlash that the bill has had has meant that within 24 hours, the bill is being put on hold. It was to be tabled in the Karnataka Assembly.
Well, that is true. Since morning, a lot of industry experts have called out the Karnataka government for not being practically right or oriented in terms of putting out the bill, which says that 50% for management roles and 70% for non-management roles and quota for Kannadigas. And NASCOM and many industry experts have written to the CM and tweeted to the CM saying that this is impossible. Don't make it merit on skill based, but maybe in other posts we can accommodate Kannadigas or localites. But when it comes to skill-based, merit takes over everything is what the industry experts or the industry voices have told the Chief Minister. And now the government has taken a call to put the cabinet decision on hold and will relook the bill maybe in the upcoming few weeks. At this point of time, the big news is that the Siddaramaiah government has heard the voices of the industry expert and have put the whole decision on hold.
So whole decision on hold means presumably, Nagarjun, this was cleared by the cabinet. You're telling me that as of now, the assembly session which is going on, the bill will not be brought to the House?
That's absolutely right. This cabinet decision was on 15th July and today is 17th. So this bill won't be placed for at least this present session. And it will be taken into cabinet once again in the upcoming weeks, and then maybe later in December might be placed before the assembly session.
Okay, Nagarjun Dwarkanath with that piece of breaking news on the big story. Remember, the Siddaramaiah government faced massive flack over this bill that provides reservation in the private sector for Kannadigas. From its own netas to allies, the move, and of course industry, the move is being condemned. Listen in to some of those voices.
No investors has to worry. We want all investors to come to Karnataka. There are certain sections of the people who are well talented outside the state. We want them to work in Karnataka. The Karnataka population, especially Bangalore population, has gone 1.4 crores only because outsiders coming here. They are working here. We don't want to harm anyone. We are just looking, we will give them a scopes. There are some suggestions which has come on this issue. We are just looking at it. There are various organizations, but we know the sentiments of various IT, BT people, technicians. We will just look at their angle.
See, a reservation is required for local people, no doubt about that. Wherever possible, they should give the reservation. Maybe technical aspect, if anything is there, which they need some qualification, some skill develop they need. Then maybe we cannot force for that to be given to the local if we don't have that kind of people ready to take that job. That is a fair enough, that is. But technically we can't enforce on any organization to take them if they are not technically qualified for that.
Every next day they come out with these kind of dramatic bills, just want to cover up all the scandal, whatever scandals, whatever the loot, whatever the allegations they have been facing, they just want to cover up with all these kind of dramas. We have a lot of talent. All these things can be addressed very strongly through the employment exchange, which they are not doing it. only just trying to disrupt the entire ecosystem of the Karnataka. It is something doing against the interest of Karnataka. They're not doing good for the Karnataka. They're just acting against the interest of Karnataka.
So let's raise the big questions here on the news today. Is brand Bengaluru under threat? Can a global city today really afford quota wars? How can any government meet local aspirations then? Will a quota lead to labor shortages? Just some of the questions we'll raise. I'm joined by Captain Gopinath. Remember, he was one of the startup drivers of Bengaluru all those decades ago. Good to have you, Captain, on the show. And Chandan Gowda, a political analyst, also joins us. Thank you both very much for joining us. Good to have both of you on the show. Captain, to you first. Within hours of the Karnataka government announcing that they are pushing for reservations for Kannadigas, especially in C and D category in private companies, there's been a bit of an uproar. NASSCOM, other industry bodies saying that this is a bad step. This will only lead to perhaps investment moving out of Bangalore, Karnataka. How do you respond? Do you believe that this is populism, nativism gone out of control?
I think it is totally a regressive step from a progressive state. It is unacceptable and shocking. I can't imagine that anybody in this age will do that. It is also shocking from the sense that they're doing exactly what the BJP did in pushing through legislation because they have a majority now, without debate, without dialogue, with all stakeholders, especially industry and local other think tanks. They should have debated it and considered it. But also, as you know, in Haryana itself, in November, it was struck down and they reserved 75%. What I'm reading today is that they reserved 100%, they reserved 50% in the top management in all kind of industries, including shops and establishments, and 50% in top management, and 75% in clerical and lower level jobs, managerial jobs, second level managerial jobs, and 100% in their C and D category. It is outrageous because it will be that Bangalore, not the question of brand Bangalore. I think the Bangalore and the state will suffer because I don't think anybody will come and invest in Karnataka if whether it's Toyota or Volvo or IBM or even Infosys. I mean, this is. But no,
so
migration
you're saying migration in a way is perhaps part of the of global economies, of national economies now. Borders are melting. But I'll come to you back in a moment, Captain, because Chandan Gowda, speaking to politicians, they across this country believe they have constituencies to cater to. So Siddaramaiah and Shiv Kumar will have their Kannadiga constituency to cater to, much like Manohar Lal Khattar in Haryana last year when he announced 75% for locals, had his Haryanvi constituency in mind. So there's the economic argument, which has been made here by Captain Gopinath, saying it's a bad idea. But there'll be those who will say what makes perhaps bad economics could make good politics. Is that the reason you think the Karnataka government is trying to push with this? Nativism still matters?
Rajdeep, it's difficult to see this as only a populist measure because it has come up suddenly, I must say. There was no prior discussions about this being tabled, etc. But it's still a bill. I would like to just remind Professor Gopinath, it's bill at the stage of the bill. It needs a draft open for discussion. It will invite comments from all stakeholders, etc. But Rajdeep, just to give you a little bit of a history to this demand for reservations for locals, it's still a 4-decade-old thing. Initially, the request was that all the government jobs in the public sector units must be reserved for Kannadigas, but the private sector was never mentioned. But that also came to figure, especially when there was a sense that a lot of the new firms in Bangalore were being managed and driven by non-locals, etc. These sort of tensions have been lingering. And if you think about why Andhra Pradesh, Haryana, and Jharkhand did similar moves, whatever we may want to, not accept in terms of its populist intentions, I think with the kind of migration that's happening in the country at this point, and the fact that it's in India as a federal setup with linguistically organized states, you can't simply say laissez-faire will somehow work everywhere. I think, I would have been delighted if I'd heard the NASSCOM people say, thank you, you've brought a concern to our notice. We'll see how best to handle it from within ourselves. We'll see how best to address this tension or this difficulty, right? I mean,
but could we have been, but Chandan, could there... Yes. When you say that NASSCOM, perhaps rather than sort of speak out against this bill, should understand concerns, anxieties of locals, maybe the government should have also made a distinction between jobs that perhaps are seen as C and D category and highly skilled jobs. You can't, you see, that when they will have to make that distinction.
No, they've already done that. The 70%.
No, they've said 75% for one, 50% for the other. The fact is that at some stage you're going to have to make the distinction much sharper.
Yeah, no, but Rajdeep, they also say exceptions can be made. They also say 50 can come down to 25%. There's all these things. I think we need to look at the fine print. I frankly will not, welcome a sort of a blanket sort of, cut and dried categories like this. But some reflection from within the private sector that there may be a genuine problem here and we need to address it would be welcome to see at this point, instead of a complete pushback. Yes.
That's interesting because, Captain Gopinath, let's look at the history of this. We can go back to the 1960s in Maharashtra. Parties like the Shiv Sena came to power, or at least aspired to come to power, by claiming that they stood for local interests, that the natives, if I may call that, of a state deserve preferential treatment. So it's not as if this began only now in Karnataka. This has had a long history across the country. And because there's been so much of migration, therefore there's also a growing sense of anxiety. So Kannadigas will believe, look, we must get the first right in a city like Bangalore. Bangalore belongs, they believe, to Kannadigas first.
Yeah,
I think
has never been. Sorry, please, Captain.
Was it for me?
Yes, go ahead, Captain.
I think I think in the long run it will prove the disadvantages to Kannadigas. Kannadigas, by nature, are not people who have been migrating to other states. Apart from a few entrepreneurs in the IT, it's more. You can see when in Bangalore you got more Keralites and Tamilians, and you also have North Indians. It's not just in the IT. I mean, if you look at Swiggy or Zomato or restaurants or beauty parlors, you have free movement of labor and free movement of goods. That is the key to economic growth. And what the government should do is to ensure that minimum wages are met and industries follow those kind of minimum wages. There is, of course, reservation for government because, as you know, that.
No, but what happens to the political argument? Captain Gopinath, you're giving me the economic argument. There should be free movement of goods, of labor. What about the economic argument? What about the political argument that I am a politician from Karnataka, I have a constituency which is saying, look, we need jobs first?
No, you are not serving your constituency. You are serving your own, desire to win elections. You're not providing any jobs because if industry collapses, Karnataka will suffer the most. As it is, we know that in all sectors in Karnataka, there are migrants, including agriculture. We have many big farms have agricultural labor that has moved from Jharkhand and Bihar because sufficient labor is not available. That is a law of a good vibrant economy. Migrants are the engine of growth, and they move up the value chain. And
but politicians want to win elections. But Captain Gopinath, politicians want to win elections. So their constituents are the Kannada speaking, the local Kannadigas. How do you cater to their interests? What do you tell them then?
They should give them good education. They should give them good skill development. That is the way to do the economics for your constituency. It is not through reservations, because then if it's reservations, industry will not come. Where will they get jobs if industry leaves Bangalore? Industry comes to Bangalore because it's not only just Bangalore. It could be
Sure, I
Not
take
only
your
just-
point because Chandan Gowda, in the last few hours itself, we've seen the Kerala industry minister, we've seen Nara Lokesh from Andhra Pradesh saying, okay, industry, if you are troubled by Karnataka's policy on giving jobs to locals, come to our state. We are in a very competitive federalist politics, and therefore, if Karnataka doesn't satisfy industry, the industry will move to other states. Is the fear being expressed by some? Is that an exaggerated fear?
No, Rajdeep, this is what is unfortunate. You saw this happen in the US, different states competing with each other by reducing taxes and saying invest here, etc. We don't want states within India fighting like this. It's unfortunate we saw this response so straight away. But Rajdeep, let's not second guess the motives of the political class. There's an issue here. How does it need to be handled? If India is to be imagined like a Europe, just imagine, will the French be happy if the Germans took all the jobs in Paris? It's unthinkable. I think it's not at all fanatical. I mean, what you saw in Maharashtra is a litmus case of what can happen if the locals feel displaced and thrown out of a city that they were in or a state they feel belongs to them. In this case, Rajdeep, nobody's saying we're number one or we need all jobs. I think it's a demand for a certain recognition that you can't just be, to be.
No, but shouldn't the focus be, as Captain Gopinath said, on raising skill levels? Focus on that. If a government said that we are going to invest in raising skill levels of the locals, isn't that the better way forward?
No, I think they're not against each other. You can do that alongside. But Rajdeep, please remember, in this case, the definition of a Kannadiga includes anyone who's lived in Bangalore for 15 years. You don't have to be a native speaker of Kannada at all, right? You have to show some proficiency in the language, which means you'll have to have done it at school. So I think this is very important to remember that this is not like what you saw in Maharashtra, where Maharashtra for Maharashtrians meant.
So you're saying this is a wider definition of who is a Kannadiga.
Yes.
But Captain Gopinath, once again, you see, Chandan Gowda is hammering away at the point that there is a political reality that you cannot ignore. It's not just about vote bank politics. Sorry?
Rajdeep, a cultural reality, Rajdeep.
A cultural reality, better put. Therefore, that cultural reality, Captain Gopinath, has to be recognized. We talk about cosmopolitanism, but each city has strong nativistic tendencies.
I'm a good friend of Professor Chandan. He's a great intellectual, but I feel it is all semantics that we are using now. The reality is that we had to give better education, better skilled jobs. And also the fact is, even on any level of jobs, if there may be a bakery, it may be a hotel, you go to in a Udupi hotel, there are Assamese working there. Not that because he's not getting Kannadigas. The Kannadigas, if they're not coming even to a job of, they're more harder working. They come for maybe lower wages. And the way to increase wages is when there is competition, like industry competes, small business competes, people must compete for the jobs. I'm sure Chandan was selected for a job based on his competence, not because he was a Kannadiga. So we had to ensure that if the pie has to be enlarged, we can't go the backward way of what other states are doing, the Bimaru states.
No, but
I was in Bombay just last week, and then I asked the driver, "Where are you from?" He said, "I'm from Bihar." He's there for the last 10 years, and exactly this is axing your own, axing the tree on which you are sitting is what Shiv Sena did. Saying that for Marathas, we have to give the locals some sort of soil.
So you're right. That
destroy the industry, destroy the ecosystem. It's a multicultural city. It's a cosmopolitan city. That's why people come, and Bangaloreans have benefited. There are people in lower level jobs also. Kannadigas are there. I think there is something like 25% reservation is there.
Captain Gopinath, I take your point, but Chandan Gowda, you see, that's precisely it. When the government says C and D category jobs will be for Kannadigas, we've seen over the years in different private sector industries, many of these jobs are taken by Indians, and I want to call them Indians, unlike French versus German, which you gave the analogy of. These are all Indians. I may come from Assam, I may come from Bihar. I come because I'm willing to work at a lower wage. So the challenge is increase wages, and more importantly, focus on increasing quality skills so that you're more competitive.
So Rajdeep, I don't see these as opposed demands. Please enhance skills for everyone, give them education, etc., etc. But I think some sense that if you have two similarly qualified people, and if your organization has no local, then I shall go for the local who's as qualified as the other guy. There's nothing insensitive about this. I think you're being sensitive to the fact that you're in a place which has evolved over time and which is a certain constituency of people, and you'll have to see how best to operate in that milieu. It's about being sensitive to the local, Rajdeep. I'm sorry to say, it's.
But that's for companies to do. But Chandan, that can be just as Chandan, that can be sensitive to locals. If I'm a company, a private company in Bangalore, I want to flourish there, I must be sensitive to locals without needing a legislative mandate. Why do I need a fiat from the government?
Exactly. So all I'm saying, Rajdeep, is let's not support this bill. I'm saying let this bill give rise to some introspection in the private sector, and let's hear what they come up with as possible response.
Okay, Captain, you want to get a final word? Introspection. Yeah. Private sector will also have to introspect. If you want to flourish in Bangalore, yes.
Not introspection. What is required is a proper debate and dialogue. They can't bulldoze it like what BJP did.
Sure.
They have to have a dialogue. They have to have debate and understand the position from all aspects. Suppose there's an aviation company which I'm running. Can you say 50%? If I don't get, then you'll say you are putting me through all the bureaucratic thing, and there'll be a labor. It says there'll be a assistant labor commissioner who will come and inspect whether you know Kannada or not, whether you're given the exam. He'll come and inspect your books. This is nonsense, because can I take 50% of people if I don't have enough pilots, enough technicians? Similarly in IBM, and even be in a bakery or in a hotel, in a Udupi hotel today, you go, there are people who are from Assam and Uttarakhand who are working there.
Your point is well taken.
Who is stopping? There's no law.
Your point is well taken. Your point, both your points. In fact, let me say this. I've run out of time, but both your points are well taken, because I think you need a debate. These are not black and white issues. These are complicated issues which involve understanding cultural sentiments, but at the same time understanding economic realities. Hopefully, governments will discuss, debate, dialogue with people, with experts, before they push through any bill like it appears the Karnataka government has attempted. For now, Professor Gowda and Captain Gopinath, good to have you on the show. Thank you very much for joining me here on the news today. Thank you.
Thanks, Rajdeep.
Bye. Thanks.
That big debate there on the Karnataka Quota war. Let's turn to the other big political story, and today it's coming from Uttar Pradesh, where after the setback that the BJP received in the Lok Sabha polls, rumblings have begun, and Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath is facing the heat amidst reports that there is a battle between him and the leadership of the BJP in the capital. There were hectic parleys today in the national capital, with the Prime Minister meeting Home Minister Amit Shah amidst reports that the UP BJP chief could also be replaced. Sources now telling India Today that a big organizational rejig is on the cards in UP after the BJP suffered a setback. Take a look.
Rumblings in the Uttar Pradesh BJP are out in the open after the setback suffered in the Lok Sabha elections. Several party leaders and allies have voiced their concern about the functioning of the bureaucracy in the state and the perceived neglect of party workers. From Lucknow to Delhi, the party top brass has had a series of huddles over the last few days. Prime Minister Narendra Modi met UP BJP chief Bhupendra Chaudhary on Wednesday. The meeting comes a day after BJP President JP Nadda held talks with UP Deputy CM Keshav Prasad Maurya and the state unit chief. Sources tell India Today the talks focused on reducing friction between the party organization and the state government. Sources say Nadda instructed leaders not to make statements that may harm the party's interests. A message has been sent out to keep the party and government united. Sources added that there is no move to change Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, but the state party organization could be rejigged. Sources also hint at a cabinet reshuffle in UP. The meetings were necessitated by statements by leaders that indicated all is not well within the party. Deputy CM KP Maurya's comment at a meeting of MLAs in Lucknow on Monday in particular made headlines. Maurya had also skipped 2 cabinet meetings held by Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. Now sections within the BJP are questioning why Maurya didn't raise any objections while being Deputy Chief Minister for 7 long years. They point out that Maurya was made Deputy Chief Minister despite losing the assembly election. The BJP, however, has played down the fight within.
संगठन का तंत्र राष्ट्रीय लेवल से लेकर बूथ तक या बूथ से लेकर राष्ट्रीय लेवल तक है तो केवल और केवल भाजपा में है और भाजपा का ही निष्ठावान देवतुल्य कार्यकर्ता ऐसा है जो निस्वार्थ भाव से 365 दिन काम करता है.
To add to the BJP's woes, its allies are also openly voicing their concern about governance in UP.
देखिए बुलडोजर जो है माफियाओं के लिए दहशतगर्द है क्या, ऐसा कोई बड़ा मतलब हमें रोड बनाना है, लेकिन कोई गरीब महिला 90 साल से है, 100 साल से है और वो उसके पास कागज नहीं है और कुछ लोग उसको आपत्ति है और उसको बुलडोजर चला दे जाते हैं, तो जब कोई उस गरीब को उजाड़ेंगे तो हमें उजाड़ेगा ना राजनीति में. तो बुलडोजर गरीबों पर चलाने का नुकसान है.
Recently, Apna Dal Chief and Union Minister Anupriya Patel wrote a letter to Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath claiming many quota vacancies were de-reserved and given to general category, leading to anger among backward classes.
The focus for the BJP is now the bypost on the 10 seats for which CM Yogi Adityanath held a meeting with the in-charge ministers. It looks like for the BJP, the internal and the external battle is continuing with the fact that how the voices are coming. But a big question still remains how the party will go ahead with this kind of environment where the cadre, the coordination and the organization government equation is still under the question. In Lucknow with cameraman Neeraj Kumar, Abhishek Mitra for India Today.
The UP BJP rumblings. Is the party now caught in a major faction feud? Is Yogi Adityanath under increasing pressure after these election results? Will the BJP top brass redraw the UP strategy? And what of the role of the BJP top brass in, some say, mishandling Uttar Pradesh? Joining us now, Ghanshyam Tiwari's Samajwadi Party spokesperson. Anila Singh is of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Rajat Sethi, political analyst who's worked with BJP leaders in the past. And Sharad Pradhan, senior journalist from Lucknow, joins us on the show today. Appreciate all of you joining us. Sharad, why don't you kick off, because you usually have a very strong view on these issues. Is Yogi Adityanath on notice? You wrote a book on him. Do you believe somewhere this election result, people are looking for a scapegoat and the BJP central leadership is targeting him instead of taking responsibility themselves?
You said it, Rajdeep. Yogi Adityanath is being picked as a scapegoat when fact remains that he was not involved in the election process at all, in the sense that he neither had any say in the selection of candidates. As a matter of fact, his people close to him say that the candidates he opposed were readily given tickets by the BJP leadership. Secondly, even his picture was missing from the publicity material that was sent from the central BJP office, which is, and it was all about Modi and Modi's guarantee. And then to blame him clearly shows that BJP, this was cooking up right from 2017 when he was handpicked to become chief minister, only because for certain reasons, some reservations by the RSS, Manoj Sinha, who was Modi's choice, could not be installed there. So, and there was the BJP leadership hope, which is Modi and Amit Shah, that they would ease him out in the next 1 or 2 years. But they couldn't do it because Yogi managed to entrench himself deeply here. And by the time the next election came in 22, he had already established himself as a Hindutva icon. And the manner in which he started his own politics, he managed to get a lot of public support. But his style of working, his arrogant style of working, did not earn him friends within the party. He earned more foes than friends in the party. And Keshav Maurya, who had been eyeing for the job right from day one, because he had earlier been the president of the party in the state, and he felt that it was his right to get the job, to get the slot of chief minister in 2017, because he had led the party to victory at that time. So he claimed. But he didn't get the job, so he was made deputy chief minister. In 22, Maurya lost the election, his own seat, for which he can continue to blame Yogi. And still there's so much talk. But in the bargain, Maurya, being extremely obliging, he built a whole big, I wouldn't say caucus, a good following of MLAs from the BJP. So, and he has been out to grab the job, and he knows that if he doesn't dislodge Yogi now, he will never get the job, because by
So
the
you're
time
saying that's the prime. So there is this big. You're saying there is this big factional war that has broken out there. Anila Singh.
Absolutely. BJP is a divided house in UP.
BJP is a divided house. Anila Singh, for all the talk of the double engine, the Modi-Yogi double engine, the election results and what's happened after suggest that the engine is not all working very smoothly. There are problems, there are rumblings.
My ram to all. And I was listening to you, I was listening to Mr. Sharad Pradhan, and it was all said that center is trying to make Yogi Adityanath ji as a scapegoat for the failure of Uttar Pradesh in election. So I need to ask you one thing. Did Mr. Narendra Modi ji or Mr. Amit Shah ji, did they give any interview to you where they confided, where they told you that the failure of Uttar Pradesh is only because of Yogi Adityanath ji? Mr. Pradhan, I don't know why you are laughing. I'm not narrating any joke here. I'm telling you the fact. So keep on laughing. People like you.
No, so why are all these meetings? Just a minute, ma'am. Why are these meetings taking place? Is this just pure Atmachintan? What is it then? Why did Keshav Prasad Maurya say the Sangathan has been ignored? There are concerns, surely.
Did he say Sangathan has been ignored? उन्होंने ये नहीं कहा कि संगठन को इग्नोर किया जा रहा है. एक बार भी नहीं बोला उन्होंने. He didn't say this thing. Don't twist the words.
उन्होंने कहा संगठन को मजबूत.
सरकार से ज्यादा ताकतवर होता है. This is what Deen Dayal Upadhyay ji had mentioned. This is what he narrated. But
yes,
if we talk about
implication,
as a party worker, allow me, please let me.
Please go ahead, ma'am.
If I talk as a Bharatiya Janata Party's worker, we say that Sangtan, our organization, definitely should be very, very strong. Because if Sangtan is strong, then only we can come in government. We can form the government. And if we are in government, then definitely it is going to empower our organization. So if I talk about the organization, or if we talk about the government, the ruling government, they go hand in hand. अगर हमारे पास आवाज है तो आपको आवाज सुनाई दे रही है ना. जिनके मुंह पे ताले लगे हुए हैं कि ताला खुलेगा, जबान अगर चलेगी तो आपकी जबान खींच ली जाएगी. Do you think those political parties who are governed by particular families, workers can say anything? Of course not. This is Bharatiya Janata Party, a democratic party. The only democratic party in the India has got that type of liberty in it.
So you're saying this is democracy. Let me of course give the exact quote of Keshav Prasad Maurya. Keshav Prasad Maurya made it very clear that it is the organization which is always above the government and everyone should know it. The implication that I was giving is somewhere that is not happening. Hence I used the word ignored. But you're right, Anila Singh, that was not the specific word he used. But Rajat Sethi, somewhere in all of this, is there an elephant in the room? And that elephant in the room is, many believe, Amit Shah and Amit Shah's close aide, Sunil Bansal, who apparently were the ones deciding on strategy, on ticket review, as they've done in Uttar Pradesh over the last decade. And therefore, no one is holding them accountable. It's all being put on the local leaders.
Well, I mean, if you look at BJP's ethos, organizational ethos, it is very clear. When it is victory, you pass the victory laurels back to the workers. And when it is defeat, the leaders tend to take it up on their chest and, do the introspection. And also, I believe, largely speaking, we tend to associate political competition with from a different prism than to competition that exists in every sphere of life. There is competition within the newsroom, there is competition in corporates, and there is competition in politics. Competition per se is not wrong. And this is why a living, breathing organization has to balance discipline on one side and the organizational, liveliness or that feedback circle to ensure that the right messages are going up. Right up to the very top, and this is the reason why.
What about the top itself? You're not answering my question. Are the people on the top passing the buck to the local leadership for their faults?
See, I believe that if you were to pick Yogi Adityanath, Keshav Prasad Maurya, Amit Shah, Sunil Bansal, all of them belong to the same level of the party hierarchy that way. So it's the top leadership, and then you have the cadre below. If you look at the state executive, it's a very insightful point there that the state executive, this time when it was held in Lucknow, they had 5,000 people invited to the state executive. They went in and invited even mandal presidents and the district presidents, which so far were not invited. Their feedback was not incorporated. And for the very first time, we were seeing that, BJP realized, and it was very quick, in realizing that, yes, the Karyakarta voice is not being heard and we need to course correct it. And they made those course corrections very quickly. There are examples. Pick up Gujarat in 2017 or 18, around that time when BJP was struggling at 98, 99 seats. And everybody said that it is game over for BJP. And BJP came back with the highest number of majority numbers in that state in the next assembly election. So BJP has a mechanism to incorporate feedback very quickly, adjust the inter-party competition that exists in any political organization, and tries to ensure that the overall disciplining authorities that remain at the very top are doing their job. Yes, there would be competition between Keshav Prasad Maurya or Yogi Adityanath, and that would be addressed within the party itself, following the due course. This is what I take off. So I don't see any changes in UP. Things will remain as status quo. And if at all change has to be made, Prime Minister Modi will do it at the time of his choosing, not at the time of media's choosing or the opposition's choosing at all.
Okay. Ghanshyam Tiwari, it's not for the opposition to decide kaun banega Mukhyamantri. Opposition has been writing off, in a way, Yogi Adityanath. Opposition is suggesting that the center of the BJP is passing the buck onto the state. Opposition seems to be already celebrating. According to Rajat Sethi, this is all a part of introspection, which will lead to course correction.
Good evening, Rajdeep, to you, my fellow co-panelists and the viewers. There are three things that are important at this stage. BJP, right from Mr. Modi to Mr. Yogi, is run by fear. And people have plugged off the engine of that fear. As a result, people within BJP organization are not fearful of Mr. Yogi or Mr. Modi. And when that happens in a house which is built by bringing people from different parties, Brajesh Pathak is not an original BJP Karyakarta because he is Deputy Chief Minister. Even Adityanath did not belong to the organization of BJP. He built a Hindu Yuva Vahini. So when Keshav Prasad Maurya says Sangathan Sarkar se bada hota, you have a Deputy Chief Minister responsible for the largest state in the country. A state that has floods in 20 districts, over 2.5 lakh people affected, thousands of villages affected, highest level of unemployed youth in the country, massive poverty, fighting inflation, and the Deputy Chief Minister says, Sangathan Sarkar se bada hota. Then resign. What is this nonsense for a Deputy Chief Minister to stand up and say that I don't value the pledge that I took in for the people, by saying that he is aiming at Adityanath, but he's also shooting at his own foot. He does not have a credential to run the government. Adityanath himself does not have the credential to run the government. It is by fear. They ran a government where bulldozer justice was given against the poor. They ran a government where journalists were jailed for tweets. They ran a government where the number of custodial deaths still remains the highest. They ran the government because they could run it by using their religious propaganda and fear. And today people have cracked both of them. The second thing that drives BJP is greed.
Yes, go ahead.
The second thing that drives BJP is greed. Their greed that they will always stay in power. They'll always stay in power in Uttar Pradesh 2027. They'll always stay in power in India nationally. 400 par. The greed is over. People of India do not want a greedy party at the helm. The third and final point is, when you don't have a leadership that is visible, the entire administration fails. People in Uttar Pradesh, which is what Akhilesh Yadav, our national president, is saying, that nobody knows who's responsible. The administration doesn't know whether they should report to Amit Shah and the people in leaders in Delhi, or they should report to Lucknow. Nobody is in charge of turning around the poor state of governance in the state.
Okay. Let Anila Singh respond. You've really put out a charge sheet out there, Anila Singh, that Ghanshyam Tiwari is saying something has gone wrong. I mean, the BJP cannot say all is well. After what happened in the Lok Sabha election, clearly something has gone wrong. The double engine that you all have spoken about has certainly hit some kind of a break point.
See, they have got so much of free time that they have started analyzing and they have started investigation that why Bharatiya Janata Party did not do so well in Uttar Pradesh as we all were expecting. The particular figures that we are going to win these many seats. Good. Keep on speculating, keep on doing analysis. But the reality is the political party which vouches for Don Girdi, Mafia Girdi, they are saying it is the fear ka mahal. Because of the fear Yogi Adityanath ji is able to deliver the governance. It is because of fear ka mahal Modi ji is able to deliver the governance.
So why did you come down to 33 seats, ma'am? If everything is well, why did you come down to 33 seats?
Rajdeep ji, definitely there are reasons behind it. We know it very well. We cannot go in denial. And
no, what is the reason?
Not in denial mode at all. But it is not the work of the opposition or few of the journalists or the YouTubers that why we failed to get the number which we were expecting. We are on it.
Okay.
It's the work of our senior leadership, our organizations, post holders, and we are doing our job. So let us allow us that much of liberty.
Okay, so you're saying you're not in denial, but you're not giving me the exact reason why things went wrong. You're saying it's a process. Ghanshyam Tiwari, quick word and a final word from you, Sharad. Then first Ghanshyam Tiwari, very quickly.
Rajdeep, on the positive side, the tall leadership of Akhilesh Yadav ji, the strong social constituency of PDA is pushing BJP to the brink, where they know that neither in terms of leadership they can match what people are expecting from Akhilesh Yadav ji. The expectation is a mismatch vis-a-vis BJP, Adityanath ji, and as well as Modi ji.
Okay.
And second, in terms of the social combination itself, BJP is increasingly looking like a party that represents a paltry few people who are extremely well-to-do rather than the masses.
Okay, very quickly, therefore, Sharad Pradhan, do you see Yogi Adityanath now, if these by-poll results don't go the BJP's way, could we actually conceivably see Yogi Adityanath being pushed out and a Keshav Prasad Maurya emerging, or Yogi still remains Neta number one?
Well, you're absolutely right, because but I tell you, normally, in a situation like this where the ruling party has 273 seats in a house of 403, a by-election to 10 assembly seats would not matter. But in this case, it is being deliberately used as a weapon to ease out Yogi Adityanath. I can understand the party spokesmen cannot believe and would not accept the truth, because it is their job to defend the indefensible and to convert lies into truth and truth into lies. But journalists don't do that. Journalists have to read between the lines. If they expect that journalists should accept everything on face value, then we would not be journalists. So that is the difference between spokespersons and journalists. So, and fact remains, everybody here behind, obviously they wouldn't come out in the manner in which BJP's own MLAs and their allies have gone to blast Modi in no uncertain terms. What does it mean? Obviously, they do not have the gumption to do it without the support from people sitting in Delhi. Whether it was Ramesh Mishra or whether it was Moti Singh or whether it is Anupriya Patel, and but obviously, I mean, I don't.
So you see a conscious plan to undermine Yogi Adityanath at the moment, and Yogi Adityanath, in that sense, is on notice. We'll wait and see, though, how this plays out in the weeks ahead. Picture abhi baki hai, as they would say. Anila Singh, Sharad Pradhan, Ghanshyam Tiwari and Rajat Sethi, appreciate you joining me here on the news today. So we broke the story today about how the Karnataka government has put on hold its proposed bill for quotas in the private sector. What it does highlight, though, is the great Indian unemployment crisis. Because as we've been seeing in recent days, from financial capital Mumbai to Gujarat's Bharuch, thousands are flocking every time there are job advertisements for a few hundred posts. Just yesterday, when the Maharashtra Only today, the Maharashtra government has announced a new stipend scheme for unemployed. On the other hand, a BJP MLA is now facing flack for calling college degrees defunct. How is all of this playing out? We thought we'd make it our Get Real India story, the great Indian job crisis.
Total chaos in Kalina on Tuesday. The Air India Airport Services Limited was holding walk-in interviews for nearly 2,000 handyman posts. Thousands turned up, leading to a stampede-like situation. In the end, the exercise was called off.
They knew this would happen because it has happened previously. And previously also, they had to stop the interviews and they had to call people later over several days and then have the recruitment. Despite knowing all that, once again they have made the same mistake and called people through advertisements, and 50,000 people turned up. We as a union requested the management not to take DDs unless they come for interview. So the DDs were not taken, only the applications were taken. They were sent back and told we will call you later.
The rush for jobs in Mumbai and recently in Bharuch reflect the need for jobs. It is a problem governments at centre and state acknowledge. The Eknath Shinde government in Maharashtra, which is facing state polls this year, has announced a scheme to give stipend ranging from 6,000 rupees per month for class 12 pass aspirants and 8,000 for diploma holders to 10,000 rupees per month for graduates. As the clamour for jobs grow, a BJP MLA in Madhya Pradesh this week had a word of advice for the country's youth.
का जो शुभारंभ कर रहे हैं, मेरा आप सबसे निवेदन है कि केवल एक और दो वाक्य पकड़ लेना, केवल एक और वाक्य पकड़ लेना। ये कागज की डिग्री से कुछ होने वाला नहीं है। मोटरसाइकिल की पंचर की दुकान खोल लेना, जिससे कम से कम अपनी जीवन यापन चलता है।
Ironically, Shakya was speaking at an event organized to mark the opening of a PM College of Excellence in his constituency, Guna. While the MLA was trying to highlight the importance of vocational training, his choice of example was not received well by either students or puncture workers.
आज की सरकार बोल रही है कि इस डिग्री से कोई फायदा नहीं है, इसलिए इससे अच्छा है बच्चों को कॉलेज स्कूल में नहीं जाना चाहिए, वो जाकर पंचर की दुकान खोलें। हम इसकी बहुत कड़ी निंदा करते हैं क्योंकि छात्रों को इसको लेकर बहुत आघात पहुंचा है।
विधायक जी ने जब ये बोला कि डिग्रियों की जरूरत नहीं है, आपको पंचर की दुकान खोलना चाहिए, तो एक सवाल हमारे बीच में आया है कि छात्र जब डिग्री ले रहे हैं तो उस डिग्री के कोई मायने नहीं है। ये अपने यहाँ के जो विधायक हैं वो बोल रहे हैं, तो इसीलिए छात्र इसका भी विरोध कर रहे हैं।
हमारे ऊपर बीती गई है, वो हमारे आने वाली नस्ल पे ना बीते, वो अनपढ़ ना निकले, जाहिल ना निकले, बाद में ये ना कहे कि जो है हमारे बड़ों ने हमारे लिए कुछ नहीं करा। जैसे खुद जो है अनपढ़ थे, अपनी औलाद को उन्होंने अनपढ़ बनाया, ये बहुत गलत बात है।
इस वक्त तो पढ़ाई सबसे जरूरी है, आदमी पढ़ लिख कर भी पंचर लगाए तो फिर क्या फायदा होगा।
While India remains one of the fastest growing economies in the world, job creation remains the biggest challenge. Bureau Report, India Today.
We'll have a special debate later this week on India's job crisis and how to resolve it. Let me leave you tonight with an image that should sadden us all. India bids farewell to its valiant defenders. These are images of the final homage that was paid to Doda Braveheart Captain Thapa, who was killed in action yesterday. His mortal remains returned to his hometown of Siliguri, where his family paid an emotional farewell. Our thoughts with his family and with our brave soldiers always. Thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Good night, Shubhratri. Jai Hind, Namaskar.
भारत माता की जय। भारत माता की जय। भारत माता की जय।